Sorry about the delay. Um, it kept freezing up on me, couldn't get no sound. But I'm going to check out the sound right now and see if we got any. And hello, Ron. Yeah, can you check and see if I got sound now? I will. I will. Okay. Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. But Tracy gonna call me back if I got sound. But I don't know. It just froze up on me and wouldn't pick up the sound. And she's checking to see if I got sound now. Uh, Hopefully, I'll get some people joining in that are looking for me. I'm supposed to be on at 5 o'clock, and I know one thing, and I need to go on earlier to make sure I got everything working. And then at 5 o'clock, I'll still be there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, honey. All right. Bye bye. Well, she told me we had sound. So, what I wanted to talk about today was the upcoming election and a few other things too. But try to get a little bit more light there. Um, I tell you what, I don't know what they're trying to do to one another. Uh, Dirty politics is one thing, but nasty politics is something else. Um, Everything you hear on these broadcasts, they got the f bomb in there so many times you can't let your kids watch it, and it's just plumb nasty. Uh, and that's mostly on the Democratic side. And I'm a Democrat, so don't get mad at me for saying the truth. Um, uh, I haven't voted. The Democratic Party left me uh, back when Lyndon Baines Johnson took over for President Kennedy. I voted for him, and I ain't voted Democratic since because they just left me. It got to be nothing but scheming and trying to put somebody in jail that didn't do anything. But I don't know. Y'all give me your opinion. That's just mine. And hey, let me. Well, I don't know, buddy. Uh, by the way the polls go, Trump will win. And that tickled me to death. I voted for him last time. But we'll just have to wait and see. Uh, but Jonah, it's a kind of ridiculous thing the way they're doing things anymore. Uh, I just don't care about any kind of politics anymore. But glad you could be with us. Yeah, it's all this is crazy. It sure is. I agree with you, Jonah. And Jonah, if this is your first time on my channel, it's the first time I've been able to get live and for a while. I done it about a week ago, but nobody knew I was going to be on it. I kind of advertised this. I had 2 or 3 days to get some people to see that, and so I'm glad you made it on. If you like about anything we talk about, give us a subscription and a like button. I sure appreciate it, gentlemen. I tell you what, it's hard to get subscriptions and stuff on YouTube. I get them like wildfire on TikTok, but I don't really TikTok because all the nasty talk and stuff that goes on. But glad to have you with us. Yeah, I went live on TikTok and got suspended for 2 weeks for something somebody else said, and I had nothing to do with it. But anymore, when somebody gets on there and starts raising a little trouble, I just sign off and forget about it. But yeah, TikTok be all right. It wasn't for that. Are you on TikTok, Jonah? I tell you what, I don't like this delay. I ain't running but a 2 second delay, and it's still a lot. Well, I'll try that. I'll try that. Uh, I appreciate it, Jonah. I'll try that, and of course I'm new to this thing. I just I'm 81 years old, and I just come on it to kind of help my grandson have something to fall back on, and maybe make a little money when I kick the bucket. That's the reason he's on it with me. He don't get to get on with me because he's still going to school right now. He he's going to college right now, but uh, I tell you what, I enjoy doing it. It gives an old man something to do. But have you ever watched mine on TikTok, Jonah? If not, it's just called Views of an Old Man. That's what it's called. But Views of an Old Man. And yeah, kind of check it out. I got a lot of little funny segments on there and a few things on you might like. But like I say, I haven't been doing it long, and I've somehow I've got 90 viewers on YouTube already. But I didn't think I'd have that many by this time. And I've got about 2,400 or 3,400. I really don't know what I got on TikTok. But anyhow, I'll tell you what, that Kamala Harris, she's she'll say one thing one day and something else the next. I'll do it, Jonah. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's true. They do, and I don't mind talking about it because hey, uh, it's a just opinionated thing. It ain't nobody right or wrong. It's just everybody's got a different opinion, and if they're wrong, they'll pay for it later, and if they're right, they'll get the benefits later. That's the only way you can say it. But yeah, Lyndon Baines Johnson, buddy, I said he was a work of art. Yeah, he was a he was a, he was something else. Um, be having a conference and have to go to the bathroom, make them go in, follow him to the bathroom, and listen to what he had to say while he uh, was using the bathroom, and that was a fact. uh, I didn't care nothing about him. I was in Vietnam at the time he had to take over, and I didn't like him at all. Had no knowledge about the military whatsoever. Yes, I was over 2 years. I enjoyed Vietnam. There's a few hard times in it, but beautiful country, beautiful people. I never met a Vietnamese I didn't like. Now, I, I, I guess I'd have to say I didn't like the Viet Cong, but no, when you was having a problem, a firefight or something, you didn't have time to be scared. You got scary after it's over with, uh, wondering how you made it through. When we had the Tet Offensive, let's see, that was in, I think it was 78, I believe it was. Um, it was a rough one, but you didn't have time to know where you're scared or not. Uh, the gun tower I was in took now this was told me, I didn't count them, but it said it took over approximately 10,000 rounds. And if it took that many rounds, I don't know how we got out of it. Of course, we had bulletproof glass all the way around the front of it, and the sides, but not in the back, but on the sides and front. But that was peppered. You couldn't even see through it. It was peppered. I went over in 66 and stayed 2 years. And well, I just retired from the military in 93 and 92. I had 32 years and 11 months in, and I'm 81 now. So that gives you an idea of how old I am now. But I tell you what, I really, outside the skirmishes was in, I enjoyed the country of Vietnam. Uh, I had probably 25 to 30 Vietnamese work for me at my last 6 months that I was in Vietnam, and they was good workers. And of course, if they had a chance to steal something, they would, because that's how they got their extra stuff, food and stuff. But I didn't pay no attention to that. But how old was I when I went? Let's see, when I went to Nam, let's see, I went in military in '62, and I went to Nam '66, so 18. I was about 22, 23 years old, somewhere along there. I think I had my 23rd birthday on the way over, if I'm not mistaken. That's been a long time ago, bub. But anyhow, um, it was. I come home. I got 60 days leave because your grandpa hid from going. Surely not. Uh, of course, I guess they had the draft back then, didn't they? I joined up, and excuse me. Uh, I didn't have no problems with it at all going. Um, lost a lot of good friends over there. They kept wanting to smoke, and smoking was probably the most dangerous thing you could do, or turn on a flashlight when you was out in the jungle. But a cigarette lit the jungle up just like a here I am, see if you can knock the light out. And they'd wait till they see that fire intensify, and then they'd take off the head of whoever's smoking. Because them old boys was a good shot, they're snipers. We lost a lot of people because of the cigarette. Uh, Craziest thing I've seen in the military. Well, um, I don't know if I've seen too many crazy things or not. Some crazy things happen, But after it over with, it wasn't so crazy. But I guess I walked up the thing that bothered me the most one time I was over. I walked up on about a 4-year old little boy that had both arms blowed off and his legs blowed off at the knees, and I had to give him uh, an injection uh, and stop the bleeding up. I stopped the bleeding up for him and wrapped him up. Had to wrap him kind of like a little mummy because he was shrapnel him from head to toe. And I, I carried him to the infirmary. After I found him, I had to carry him about 1,000 meters, and it was a little Vietnamese boy. And I took him to our infirmary, and I don't know if he lived or I don't know if he died because I never did get back to that infirmary again because I moved on just a week or so after that and never did make it back to it. Um, well, that's probably the saddest one I got, and they, there's a lot of crazy things happened over there, and there's some good crazy things happened. Uh, I went to Monroe Bay one time, and I had about 8 hours to sit back and do nothing. Well, I've got some posted on YouTube, and I posted some of them on TikTok, but they were so long I had to make 2 and 3 parts out of them. But if you go to YouTube and read those, why you can. I don't know how many's on there, but they're all the best I can tell them the way they happened at the time. And I probably remember those better than I do yesterday. But you're welcome to take a look at them, and you might just like them. But let's see, we got somebody else on there right now, John. How you doing? Glad to have you. Uh, I had 32 years and 11 months, and I served in Vietnam. I was on uh, call for the Cuban crisis. I was on call for the Berlin crisis. Um, we were staged uh, at some place. I can't remember where it was at. They said they took us to a base and staged us down in Florida somewhere for a Cuban crisis, but never had to go down there. And for the Berlin crisis, we just stayed. We was on standby in. Let's see, that was at. I was in. I believe it was Fort Pope. I believe it was. I was on standby for that, but never did have to go from that either. And why they sent us to Fort Pope, I have no idea. But I was in. Yeah, most people hasn't heard of the Berlin crisis. Uh, I really can't tell you what caused that because I don't know. We've just called up for it. You'd have to look it up on your. You'd have to look it up on your uh, computer to find out what the Berlin crisis really was. Because, like I say, I was on back there. Uh, that was back in the '60s. I think the acute Berlin crisis was in '63. I think maybe '64. But uh, if I was still in there, I wouldn't have much choice but to serve for him. But if I had a druthers, no, I wouldn't want to serve for him because he don't know his butt from a hole in the ground when he was in good shape. When he was a senator, he was no good. And don't get me wrong, Jan, I'm a Democrat, but like I was telling Jonah, I haven't voted Democrat since John F. Kennedy uh, was killed. Me and Jonah just sitting here talking about that. But I think Trump's going to win the election if it's fair. Now they're trying to work schemes up. I saw on a documentary on TV just a few days ago that they uncovered a thing that they had going that was try to do something to win the votes. I had something to do with money and some of the illegal aliens, but I don't know exactly. I couldn't catch all of it. Yeah, I hear you, Jan. I understand that. Uh, I've been named to switch over to independent party, but I just ain't never done it. I'm so darn old now. Wouldn't do much good if I did. Uh, how come you can't vote yet, Jonah? Not old enough? Um, oh, I understand. Well, you know, uh, that's one of the used to be one of the best things we had going for us was a free vote. But now it's got to where you don't know if it's going to count or not. Um, I wish they'd do away with this electoral college because it takes a lot of the votes away from a lot of people. But uh, one thing you want to do when you do get old enough to vote is at least vote, even if you turn out voting the wrong way. That's something that you got to figure out yourself. But uh, it's the only actual freedom we still got, I believe, and that don't look like that's going to last long. If see, the parties have switched. Back when I was just getting out of high school and stuff, and the Democratic Party was for uh, the working man and making sure everybody was taken care of in a catastrophe and all that, and fighting for the Bill of Rights and Constitution. And now it's just switched. The only thing I had bad to say about the Republican Party back then, uh, there was a lot of people that was for the KKK, and I never was for that, and never did, and they weren't quite as conservative as what they are now. But now your Democratic Party is more like parts of the KKK and promotes people like that. And Republicans is for the working people and taking care of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and making sure everything's got taken care of when it needs taken care of. And it's just a 180-degree flip. And it's taken the people a lot longer to catch on to that than uh, because all the just about all these school teachers are Democratic and have been in somewhat way or another indoctrinated in the schools, and it's just not a free way to go anymore. But it's still the best thing we got in the world. I've been all over the world, and of course now I like Australia and I like uh, Indonesia and Taiwan and Uh, I like a lot of the Southeast Asian countries. Like just love the people to death. My favorite people is the Taiwanese, not the Taiwanese, but the Indonesian people. And it just it's nothing the same as what it was when I was a child growing up. Well, it all depends on what how this one ends. Uh, I think see the Democratic Party right now is shooting for a one party uh, thing. If they won't, if they give what they are shooting for, there won't be an independent party and uh, a Republican Party and a Democratic Party and a Green Party and so forth. It'll all just be one party, and that's what they're trying to do behind closed doors. And I've got a very close contact that's a senator, and he keeps me pretty well instilled on this stuff. But uh, and that's what they're trying to do. And if they get that done, we'll never recover from it. Uh, I remember about that a little bit. Uh, that I don't know enough about it. Actually, I was in the service at the time, but I don't know enough about it because I was in Vietnam and don't know enough about it to talk about it, Jan. Because if I said anything about it, I might be wrong completely. Uh, and I remember something about that though, but we only got little uh, flashes of it. What time we was on watching overseas TV in Vietnam, and they didn't cover it very good. So I can't really say a whole lot about it because I don't know nothing about it. But yeah, I wish both of you would go and read my stories that I got online, and uh, they're about the military. They're all little things that happened to me, and I never got no Purple Heart or anything while I was in the military. Uh, I got some wounds, but could never say that they was from the enemy. Uh, I know two of them was from my own people. Accidentally, we had a grenade that went. Boy throwed it and it hit a limb in a tree and bounced back, and I got a little piece of that shrapnel in the foot and stuff like that. But them kind of things happen, and but I didn't go over to get a Purple Heart anyhow, and so it wasn't no big deal. Yeah, if I get this set up, Jonah, um, I'll get be on time. I started on time, but it didn't. It froze up on me, and it didn't. I couldn't get it unfroze. I just sat here and looked at myself froze, and couldn't didn't have a mic, so I don't know what happened. I had to cut it down, shut it completely off, computer and everything, and then come back up until I got it to work. And so, but yeah, go over and read my stories, Jonah, and I think you'll enjoy them. Every one is the best I can remember them, and like I say, I remember that stuff back there, and I remember yesterday. And Dan, same way to you. Go on YouTube and read my stories and do a little cooking on YouTube too. Make pecan pies and baked beans and so forth like that. But ain't no expert at it, just like fun. And I think that's what anybody cooks for is the enjoyment of doing it. But yeah, that sounds good. Everything I might make is simple as ABC, or I couldn't do it. Hardest thing I make baked Alaska, and I haven't made that in several years because you can't get good ice cream anymore. If you don't make homemade ice cream and freeze it to a brick, you can't hardly make good baked Alaska. We'll see you, Jonah. Have a good one, buddy. Appreciate that. And so, Jan, just looks like me and you here now. Jonah's going off to another episode somewhere, and our what do you say, David? Uh, hadn't talked to you in a while. It's Roger, not Hot Robert. In case you forgot, it's easy to do. Um, you had the first letter right, anyhow. But you've been doing all right. I thought maybe Drain the Swamp would get on here too, but I haven't seen him yet. And been talking to Jonah and Jan not asleep. Okay, Jan, I'll look for that. I'll look for that. I didn't know I had it on there. Well, David, um, I had to take my brother-in-law and have his foot checked out, and he ended up having to go in the hospital and have his foot amputated. And he's been staying here with me, but I was running back and forth to the hospital every day, be with him, and so I didn't do anything for about 3 weeks there at all. And then I kind of, when he got out of the therapy sessions at the Cardinal Hill, well, then he came home to stay with me until they got him another apartment with a ramp built to it, and because he's going to have a prosthetic and have to use a wheelchair a lot. Well, it's good, Dad. I'm glad you've been fine, but that's kind of what happened to me. But I'm getting back on now. Yeah, well, uh, I really didn't do many videos, but uh, I done it live last week, but nobody knew I was going to do it, so I kind of put out a little bit. And Jonah told me if I got on TikTok and told him I was going to be on live, that a lot of people would go and watch it. But we just got to do what we can do, and I tend to uh, just make them when I can, do them when I can. Yeah, I'm glad you made it, and hopefully during the swamp I'll make it too. Do you know Cheyenne pepper? Oh, cayenne pepper. I looked at it without my glasses on. Did I know cayenne pepper would stop a heart attack? No, I didn't know that. Jan, how do you have to use it to do that? I'll tell you one thing, I don't like these delays that you have to put in here. I've only got a 2 second delay, and it's still, I look at my mouth movement and then my voice, and it looks like they're way off. And I didn't know 2 seconds would make that much difference. I was telling somebody, uh, Jonah earlier, that a lot of these things that got Kamala Harris in them, I don't know if she says it as much as they say she does, but she uses the F bomb a whole lot in her vocabulary. No, I don't really do more. They're more, they're a little bit shorter, and I just do little things on it. I don't do no long ones at all on TikTok anymore. I tried it, but I'd have my stories are so darn long. I'd have to do 2 or 3 sessions, and it just wasn't worth it. But on TikTok, YouTube now, I've got several, but I don't really know how many I got. I don't keep up with it. I don't think it makes any difference until you really get to know, get a lot, and uh, put it in some honey, or you can add some to water, put it under a person's tongue. Well, hey, I can't see that being a problem to do. I like cayenne pepper. I eat a lot of it in my cooking. I put a little bit of just about everything I cook, except pies and stuff. But it's good seasoning, and it puts just enough bite there that you nobody even knows it's there. They just like it, and usually what I use it in my baked beans a little bit. Uh, I don't use it now when I'm doing one on YouTube. I didn't use in baked beans because a lot of people don't like any bite at all of their baked beans. But when I'm just making it for me, I do. Well, that's good to know, Jan. I'll keep that in mind. I know it's peppers is good for you a lot of ways. And you know something? I've never seen a report about any pepper except now that the ones that's extremely hot can take your breath away and cause death if you can't breathe. But just as far as a pepper, any kind of pepper that you can stand to eat, as far as I know, none of them is harmful to you, but they're all good for you. And a lot of them are just, let's see, jalapenos are good for you, and black peppers are one of the things that they ain't never found nothing wrong with, I guess. And pepper's just good for you all the way around. I used to my chili powder that I used to use. I used to use Maxine's chili powder all the time, but it's got to where now you can use a whole bottle of Maxine chili powder in a 10 quart making a soup of chili, and you can't even tell it's in there. So I went back and started using McCormick's. It's pretty good. I'd like to find a good Mexican chili powder. Uh, Theirs is awful good, but we got the chili peppers themselves that they use. But I'd like to find a powder that they use for their chili because they make good chili. I've been to Mexico several times, and I always try to find me a good bowl of chili when I'm down there. Well, it could be. Uh, I like it. I don't know. Uh, Reminds me of a little story. I had a friend. Uh, he he had to make house calls for certain things. I don't know if he was in the insurance business or just what it was. Oh no, he was in. He was one of the first people that worked on TVs when they become popular back in the 50s, and he was out doing a job. And a lot of times, people back then didn't have the money to pay for the what to get their television fixed because they used tubes back in, and they might have to solder some wires and rerun it and everything. But he was a distant cousin of mine, and he went on this one call, and it was going to be about $30 to fix it, and the woman didn't have but $20, and she said, "But I got something else I can give you if you like them." He said, "What's that?" She said, "I got some good chili peppers." She said, "I got a whole bush of them you can have if you like that sort of thing." He said, "Well," he said, "that'd be good as money. I can put that in my beans and stuff and be uptight." So he took them home, and there was probably 150, 200 peppers on that bush because they grow in the bush about that big around, and they're usually loaded, and they're only about that long. And so he took them home to his wife. His wife's name was Nadine. He brought them in. He's in a plastic bag. He said, "Now, honey," says, "a customer give me these for fixing her television." And he says, "Next time you fix a bowl of beans, put them in the beans." Well, now she didn't know nothing about chili peppers. And when she remembered him saying that, he said, "When you fix baked beans, put them in the beans." Well, she took it that he wanted all of them in the beans. So Cleon come home. That was his name, Cleon. He come home, and she fixed a great big old. She fixed about 6 to 8 quarts at a time, and big kettle full, you know. And she put every one of them peppers that was on that bush in them beans. And Cleon come in. She told him, says, "I got you peppers and beans fixed." He said, "All good." Said, "I've been waiting for them." And he sat down and he got him out a big bowl of beans, and he took a bite of them beans, and it literally like to set him on fire. And them peppers cooked up to almost nothing. Couldn't hardly tell they was in there because they people used to cook their beans about anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 hours. And them beans, peppers just turned kind of to mush. And he didn't actually see them when he took it. He probably got quite a bit of, probably one or two of them. But yeah, I generally soaked mine overnight too, David. But Cleon, when he took them beans, it just burnt him up and took his breath away. I don't. I From the way he talked, he almost had to go to the emergency room. Yeah, I like jalapenos with my beans. I don't, and I take them out. I I can them and put them boil them in vinegar and a little bit of sugar and a little mustard and some other spices and kind of pickle them and then put them in the jars and uh, it takes most of the heat away from them. But I still got some. They'd be considered mild. But boy, I ate three or four, or five of them every meal I had with bean soup beans. And the same way if I'm eating white navy beans or lima beans, but I mostly fix pinto beans, and I love them. Now, I'll tell you, I eat a lot of bread and butter and milk when I'm eating them peppers too, so they won't bother me later. But sounds good. Yeah, it does sound good. I think I go in there. I got about 2 pound in there. I need to put on soaking. I'm making myself hungry. Uh, but did the other boy leave us? I thought we had somebody else come on there, but I really don't know who's going to win this election. They uncovered one scheme that the Democrats was doing, was going to try to steal it and rig it again, but they got caught, so that ain't going to work. Of course, they used those trials to try to get him, and that didn't work. So uh, I just don't know. I'm going to vote for Trump. I don't care who knows it, and hopefully he'll get in, but he may not. You don't know. Uh, I'll tell you what I would like to see. I don't know if it's allowed or not. I would like for him to run and run his wife Melania as vice president. That woman's a smart woman. She's got a good education and she knows what 7 or 8 languages fluently, and that covers the biggest part of them. That these derivatives, the ones she knows are all the main languages, and then she has derivatives she can talk out above those. So she'd be a very good person as a vice president. And who knows, she might run after Trump gets out of office this time, or one of his boys. A lot to think about there, ain't it? But I really don't think uh, Kamala Harris is going to do anything if she gets elected because she's been in there 4 years. Why didn't she do it in the last 4 years? Because if she'd wanted to do it, Biden wouldn't have stopped her because he was not here half the time and he was kind of off up there most of the time. And he was getting off when he was vice president. Obama, I don't know how he ever won an election. Everybody knowed he was gay when he was a Senate in the Senate, and bad situation. Oh, finally got that boat fixed. If you remember me talking about that boat, David, Jan, I agree with you on that. They are all puppets, every one of them. And now Trump, I don't believe he's a puppet to anybody, but all the Democrats are a puppet. I agree with you. But Dave, do you remember that boat me and my buddy David was working on? We finally got it fixed, and just about time we got it fixed, we got to go 2 or 3 fishing trips, and then uh, brother-in-law went in. My brother-in-law went in the hospital, and so we ain't got to use it since. But we're getting ready to start up here shortly. He gets his prosthetic here in about 2 weeks, and we'll be starting that boat up and getting some of this fall fishing in, and that'll make some good. Okay, Jan, glad you could join us, and enjoyed talking with you. We'll see you next time. God bless you. But yeah, Dave, we'll be able to maybe video a few catfish. But fall bites starting right now, and I'd like to get in on port ends. But it'd be good up until 1st November, middle November. Yeah, it's that time of the year. I like. Well, really, around here, uh, catfish don't quit biting year round because you can catch some of your biggest catfish and bass too in the wintertime. I used to catch more bass in the wintertime than I did in the summertime. But still, I like going out in the spring and using a snagless Sally in a weed bed somewhere and letting them pop that thing on top of the water. Boy, it's yeah, it's the same way it is here, Dave. Yeah, same way it is here. Yeah, I like night fishing right about this time because I can stay warm. I ain't got no problem with it. But of course, at 81, it's not a good idea to get out at night on a boat, especially by yourself. Now, as long as I got some with me, I wouldn't mind it. But I can stand the cold all right, no problem. As long as I don't get wet. Now, getting wet's another story. What you live above the Ohio River, Dave, or east of Mississippi, or where? Don't have to be exact. Yeah, we got quite a bit of rain. We got a lot of wind too, but the only thing I had Fort Worth. Okay, good place. I used to fish down around Corpus Christi a lot. Uh, yeah, love Texas. Um, we had a little wind and it blowed one of my windows out down in the basement. And other than that, I didn't have no damage. My next door neighbor, he had his roof part of it blown off and the one side of his house. And they got the roof back on, but they got the side of his house fixed yet. But they brought them shingles in. And they started about 8 o'clock one morning, and they took off the old roof that was left and put the new one on. It was done by 1 o'clock, gone, and done a good job. Yeah, my dog's doing good. She's laying. She hurt her foot. See, day before yesterday, and I made her lay around a lot on the bed all day yesterday and last night, and then this morning she got up and she wasn't limping too bad at all. So I guess she just like a sprained ankle does. She sprained her ankle a little bit, but yeah, she's doing okay, and still laying in there uh, uh, treating it. Yeah, I kind of made her lay in there. If I keep the door closed, she'll like stay in the bed, and that way I know she's not up on it. Or laying around, yeah, she likes to get out and do that running. She'll go out there in the back 40 and boy, she'll take off running. She'll run in circles. And, uh, why, she'll cover a mile and never get nowhere but a big circle. Let's see. I found her in 2016. So she's about, I guess she's going on about 8 or 9 now. But she looks just like she did when I found her. Well, she found me. I got the story on my channel, but yeah, she found me. I didn't find her. I was up on the hill down at the farm and was putting out a trail cam, and I just locking it up and finished and got it locked up, and I heard something whine. I turned around and she was sitting in front of my 4 wheeler or 6 wheeler. Uh, had a 6 wheeler. I can't even think of the name of that thing. It wasn't a Honda. It was the other one, the one that is expensive now. But I like the Honda better. I wish I had a Honda instead of that 6 wheeler. But she sat in front of it, and I gathered her up and for something. but evidently she won. She was still there, and somebody had dropped her out of a vehicle onto the blacktop, and she wore the pads are sliding off her feet, not completely off, but down to the quick, and she was sore as she could be. I don't see how she fought uh, with her feet like that, but preservation takes over, you know. And I gathered her up and took her to the uh, house and gave her about a pound and a half of dog food or hamburger real quick. And then I don't live on my farm, but I come on back down here. And when I got down here at where I live, I took her to the vet and told him get her fixed up and do a DNA test on her, see what she was for sure. And DNA test come back and said she was 100% American Pit Bull Terrier. And uh, he said they were the docile kind. I said, well, all of them's docile. Ain't made me. And but oh, she's the best thing in the world. Good for kids. And, she's very protective. Oh, now somebody come around, and they raise a hand toward me or any of my family, she's on them like stick on a stick. But she's a good dog, pretty dog. Oh, well, looks like we're the only ones on here now, David. Everybody else has pulled the cord on us. Yeah, you can't beat a good dog. All he wants is a little love and affection, something to eat, and they're your friend for life. And that's the way it should be. That's the way a good woman ought to be. Give her a little love and affection, something to eat, and she'll be a friend for life, shouldn't she? But they ain't all of them that way. Some of them are. But have you ever done any fishing down in Corpus Christi? I used to, a friend of mine, Sergeant, and me used to go down there and that's pretty good. Well, cat meat's pretty good. I ate it when I was in Nam. I ate dog when I was in Nam. I didn't know it at the first time, but uh, I've never been to Hampstead. Uh, a sergeant friend of mine and me was stationed down there, and we go in and we do a lot of shark fishing and catch a lot of sail cats. My favorite thing to catch uh, uh, is uh, those amberjack and grouper, snapper. Uh, Amberjack and grouper is my favorite eating fish out of the ocean, and the ones that you fish for rod and reel. Of course, I never. Uh, I'm sure I'd like tuna, and if I call it myself, I like canned tuna, so I'd like that. But it's too big a fish for me to mess with. Now shark, I don't mind fishing for sharks. Good sharks taste good now and then, but I like the small sharks for that. Yeah, carp was fun to catch. And you know, my grandpa back years ago, he'd have me go carp fishing with him because he liked to eat them. And he would soak those things. Uh, Best I remember, he soaked them in buttermilk, homemade buttermilk, not the kind you buy at the store. And he would take that blood vein out of them, and then he'd soak them in buttermilk overnight, and he'd cook them next day. And I'll tell you what, David, they were as good as any other fish I ever ate. The way he fixed them, and they were really good. Now, I never did eat a big one. Mostly the ones he wanted to fix was about 2.5, 3 pound, his biggest. And there's a lot of meat on 2.5, 3 pound carp, but they were really good. Make the darndest fish sandwich you ever wanted to eat. But yeah, I like fishing down in Texas. Uh, I can't remember what that lake is just north of before you get to not San Antonio, before you get to Dallas. Um, I think you crossed before you either right before you get to Highway 10 or right after in that area somewhere. And it was I can't remember the name of it, but it was a really good bass in there. I fished that, but I can't remember the name of it. Of course, I have a lot of places I can't remember the name of anymore. Boy, I had a heck of a time, David, getting this thing started up today. Uh, couldn't get it. It froze up on me. Uh, it froze up on me, and I couldn't get no sound. And I had to cut everything, get back off, and then reboot and start all over again. Time I got up and running, it was already about 15 after 5, and I was 15 minutes late, maybe 20. Yeah, my grandpa, that was his favorite fish. I tell you what else he would do too. He would take a food grinder, like that you make hamburger and stuff with, and yeah, I understand. He would take them things and put them in a food grinder. I don't know what size blades he would use, but he would cut them up, uh, grind them up like well, like hamburger, and you make patties out of them just like you would salmon patties, and they were delicious. And he bred them, and I think he just used meal on the outside of them, maybe a little flour, but they were good that way. This tastes like salmon cake, a little bit different texture, but basically same flavor. And that was his favorite fish. And back years ago when I was a kid, my dad he used to like to go and catch these little yellow bellies about that long. I think the biggest yellow belly I ever seen was about a 5 pounder. I don't know what the record was, but that's big. I caught it about 5 pounder, and that's the biggest one I ever caught or seen. But you take them like that, and all you had to do was skin them and cut the head off of them, gut them, and throw them in a skillet, and they just pull 2 pieces of bone off, and then when you get down past the rib cage, you had 4 pieces of meat you pull off, and you throw the bones away. Good. Boy, that was tasty. But I don't guess I've seen a yellow belly. in a pond or lake or anywhere close for several years. I'm sure they're still there because it was abundant back when I was a child. Yeah, me being late did work in your favor, didn't it? Yeah. Well, that's probably the hardest part of it. Um, I just use electric knife on them when I clean them. I don't keep very many fish anymore, but when I do keep them, I just take the electric knife and uh, rather than fillet them. Now, my brother-in-law's brother, my other brother-in-law, um, he fillets his. He lives up in Ohio. But what I do after I skin them, I just start at the tail when I come up about 2 inches from the tail, and I just cut every 2 inches across the backbone all the way down. And then when you get ready, you can freeze them that way. And when you get ready to fry them, uh, you just take and put them in there, and then you deep fry them. When they float to the top, bring them out, and when they get cool, you just hold to that backbone, and you can pull 4 pieces of meat off, and not a bone one will come off with them. And you just nothing but bone holding in your hand. You're holding every bone they got in that piece of meat right there, and you just throw it away. And uh, that's about the simplest cleaning method you can get to, because unless you're dealing with trout, trout's easy to clean. You don't have to take skin off them. Just wash them real good. That, I haven't seen any in the Kentucky River. I know they got a few of them in the Ohio River, and Green River in Kentucky's got them. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Cumberland River's got them. But I don't know if Kentucky River's got them or not. I haven't seen one in Kentucky River, but I know Ohio's got one here and there. I don't know how far up the Ohio they are. I think, if I'm not mistaken, David, I think the Asian people eat them, and they're just a carp. I don't see why they wouldn't be good to eat. Uh, they're just another breed of carp, and they probably wouldn't be as muddy because they mostly feed on grass, if I'm not mistaken. They wouldn't have that mud vein in them. They still have the bloodline, but not the mud vein. And I'd say they'd be pretty tasty, probably. Of course, uh, I don't know what makes them jump like that. I guess the noise from the motor, I reckon. But when I'm watching some of these fishing shows, you'll see them jump clean across the boat, hit people, knock people out of the boat. But yeah, it's probably true, David. I'd say I'd say they wouldn't be any bonier than a carp, and uh, I'd say they have some good fillets on them because they're a good solid fish, and I'd say they'd be good. Yeah, I guess that first fella that ever ate an ant or a grasshopper was pretty hungry, wasn't he? Because ever since that started, they chocolate coat them now and everything. I ain't ever ate one, but don't intend to if I don't have to. If I get hungry, I'd probably eat one. And, well, I guess they ain't no uglier than a crayfish. or crawdad, and we eat them. So drain the swamp. Hey, glad to have you in. We just talked about you a while ago. First time you've made it back since I had to go to the hospital with my brother-in-law. Yeah, I don't know if it's man-made or not, but if they did make it, they done a good job, didn't they? Yeah, this is the first time I've been able to have anybody on live since my brother-in-law went to the hospital and got his foot amputated. And I've been staying with him at the hospital and Cardinal Hill Therapy place. And Rosebush, Michigan. Said, man, about a whitetail. Has he killed one for you, or what did he do? Get it with a bow? Trying to think where I've heard of Rosebush, but I can't quite remember where it's at right now. My mind's gone blank. It's not too far from where you live, is it, Drinker Swamp? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was thinking it was close in there, but my mind was messing with me, and I thought it was in that general area. What you been up to the last 5 6 weeks? Me and David, we sat here and beat this election about half to death, and we was leaving the election, getting started in fishing. Now it's hard to tell what we end up talking with before we get off here. I know one thing I'd love to be able to do, and I'd love to get back up in northern Michigan, up there on go across the Mackinac Bridge, and go up there on the scenic stretch and at management area up there. That thing's huge, and do some hunting up there. Start a new job as an auto mechanic. Boy, I hope you know about all these electronics because they left me when they started in these electronics. I wouldn't want to have to work on one for somebody else anymore. I got a truck out there. It's a 2016 Silverado, and I've got a bulb blowed right, or not blowed, a bulb not working right now. Brand new bulb, and they say there ain't no fuse blowed or anything. They say it's uh, some kind of a little sensor or box or something that underneath the back bumper that controls all the bumpers going into the back of the truck. Now, why did they ever need that for? I don't know. Getting so for long, they ain't going to have the fuses to blow if they're going to have another block. in there to take care of everything. Just something else to make a dollar, I reckon. I got it. You can't see them, but I got a picture of my oldest grandson and his fiance, and over here is my youngest grandson and his fiance, and they're all in college right now, and they're going to get married once they get their schooling over with, or maybe before. You don't never know about these young people. My oldest grandson, his girl is from Indonesia. He said, "Papa," he said, "of all the girls I brought that you meet, which one do you like the best and make a good wife?" I said, "Well, there ain't no question about that." I said, "I think her name was Ashley, the little Indonesian girl you brought home." And they've been going together ever since. First time I ever knowed a grandson take his papa's advice about the women. But I told him, I said, their culture is way better than ours. And if something happens to your marriage, it'll be you that done it, not her. Because it's the way it goes. Uh, what kind of cars do you prefer working on during the swamp? I don't like this 2 second delay. Anything but a Dodge. Well, I guess that takes in Chrysler and everything, don't it? I'm right with you. I don't like working on any Chrysler product. Uh, Ford, Chevrolet, uh, no problem. Or any of the offshoots. But I don't like Chrysler. I don't mind working on Toyotas and Nissans. I've rebuilt Toyotas and Nissans. They're good engines to rebuild. But only Chrysler engine I ever liked was the 318. That was a good engine. Yeah, he's doing good during the swamp. He gets his prosthetic and well, he gets the temporary one, I believe, next week, and then after that he gets it'll be 2 weeks, and he'll have his uh, the main one that he'll keep. But to do the temporary one to see if the length and everything is right, and they'll make a few adjustments it, and then after a week of that, they'll make his main one. I think he'll do good on it. He's healed up good, and I changed all his bandages and stuff here at the house. Kept it cleaned off for him. Kept him new bandages on it, and really done a good job healing up. Oh, he got down a few times after he first had it amputated, but um, just that happens. Uh, you have that ghost pain, phantom pain, whatever they want to call it, and it's about as bad as having the pain that he had before he had it taken off. But it didn't last as long. Is my sound loud enough, or do I need to try to turn it up some way? It's good. I'm glad to hear that because I can't tell on this end. Well, that's good. I'm glad both of you hear it good because there for a while I didn't think I was going to have any at all because I couldn't. It wouldn't pick up my mic, and what it was just something I hadn't done, I guess. And I shut it down and started all over. And when I got up, it didn't freeze up no more, and the mic was working. So I don't know what it was. Well, boys, it's been almost an hour since we started, and I gotta go fix my brother-in-law's supper. Don't know what we're gonna have yet. Probably warmed up meatloaf. I made a meatloaf yesterday before. Um, uh, a truth factor. Is that a uh, like a YouTube channel, the Truth Factor? Oh, it's on YouTube. It's called, the name of it's the Truth Factor. Let me write that down. Okay, hold on just a second. Yeah, I'll check that out, David, and I'll tell Rita that you sent me, and I'll do that very thing. As soon as I get supper fixed, I'll come in and try to get on that. And if you have any friends out there, well, try to get them to come over and chat with us sometimes. And David, I enjoyed talking to you, and you have a nice weekend also. And I'll see you next week too. And Drain the Swamp, uh, I'll get over there and I'll tell Rita that you sent me, and I'll give her a subscribe and check it out. To the news, and uh, did you say she had a Bible study? That'd be good too. We can all use that. So, boys, I'll back out of here now. Y'all have a blessed day, and God bless you, and He will if you let Him. And I'll see you next time.